Welcome in BTC Beyond the Console, episode 7/8. It's going to be a little different this time because last week we didn't, have everything right. Some things came up. Long story. But we're bringing you dual episodes this week. I'm your host, Joshua J. We're in the Samtastic Studios. I'm with my guest, Charles Parent. And today we're going to be doing an interview about Charles' gaming history, everything there is with it. And later on, we have another guest speaker who you guys will find out about halfway through the episode. It's going to be great. So I'm going to just jump right in. What have you been playing recently?
Recently, probably like most of you guys, Fortnite. Lots and lots of Fortnite, so...
Now, have you bought any of the skins, or have you bought anything, or do you just play it for...
Yeah, I'm just staying free for now, because...
Right on,
yeah, because I'm holding the line there, man. Like...
If it's free, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, if it's free. I mean, that's the whole advantage here, is it's free to play. I mean, it's a free-to-play cross-platform game. Why am I going to go out and... I mean, it's way overpriced, too, comparatively. I mean, the skins, all of it. Even the battle pass, you don't really get that much for it, for the money. Yeah. So
I agree. I'm not one to spend money on a bunch of just visual pleasing things.
Yeah.
That's just not my thing. Now, a lot of people out there do, and that's great. If you do that,
yeah,
go all for it. I know a lot of people that do, but for me personally, it's just... I don't win enough to be able to show off my costumes and my emotes.
Exactly.
So that's my problem. I need to get better at the game.
Right. I mean, who wants to be the guy that's dropping like 50, 60, $100 on Fortnite, decked out, and you can barely place 50, you get no kills.
I mean, I get a lot of kills and I make it to the top 10 a lot. I mean, I'm not that bad. But
yeah, I mean, no. Neither am I. But I mean, it's like, still, you feel like if you see somebody with all that, you just expect to, like, win. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe you'd be better. Maybe you'd be better if you spent all that money. Maybe it would be the thing to motivate you to be better.
They say it's not a pay to win, but it's probably a pay to win. The suits give you advantages of getting to the ground faster somehow. I still haven't figured that out.
Yeah, it's something in the animations. There's something in the animations. They're definitely giving you an advantage. So, good try, Epic. But
So what else? You just Fortnite? Is that your main?
Yeah, that's the main for now. Before that, it was a lot of Rainbow Six Siege, and that one I think is one that you can spend some money on, and it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. The season pass, I probably bought the game like twice over, and it's worth it because every season, I mean, you're getting actual content. Like,
yeah, you get more characters with guns and weapons, different skill sets, abilities.
Yeah, maps, everything. Yeah. Everything.
Now, when you play Rainbow Six, do you play on console or are you a PC gamer?
PC exclusive at this point.
Just PC.
Just PC Master Race all the way.
So what did you think about Steam coming out and saying there's not going to be any blocks on what games get posted on Steam, and only if it's illegal or they consider it trolling?
Yeah, I actually think that's good. I know that it can be really polarizing because of the games that were coming out recently, but there were games coming out before then. I don't know if you ever heard of Hatred. It came out a few years ago. Same thing. It was the same buzz. There were a lot of people that wanted it taken down. There were a lot of people that were actually trying to get petitions signed and everything. I mean, it was even a way bigger deal than it is now. I think it's just because it's fresh in people's mind. But I mean, when you consider that they were making Columbine-themed games literally like 2 years after it happened, I mean, it's one of those things that's not tasteful, but
it's art.
It's ostensibly it's art, and like any art, it's totally free and open, and there should be no limits put on it. So
I agree with you. I mean, in one sense, you don't want certain games out there that are bad, but yet, it's going to happen.
Right.
We have a freedom here that, it shouldn't be infringed, and that goes with art. You walk into an art gallery, some of the art you might think's ugly or bad or very inappropriate, but it's still art.
Right.
And you can't censor that. And I don't know, I agree with you. I think it's the right call. I think that they're put in a tough situation, and to be honest with you, Steam is in a position now where pretty much any game that wants to be posted goes to Steam.
Right.
Because PC is a lot bigger of a platform in senses of console only goes where PC has been.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so if someone wants a game, most of the time it's going to be on, you know, the PC or on Steam. And so if Steam goes, we're going to limit this, then they can essentially rule out entire genres because people aren't going to post a game that they can't post on the biggest site where people download games.
Right.
And so they can't censor that art.
No. And beyond that, too, now that Valve itself barely publishes or develops any games to speak of. Steam, I mean, that's basically the only money making for them, and it's entirely third party. The thing is, if they don't allow a game on Steam, there's nothing stopping from somebody going and posting that on any other number of file sharing websites, and somebody can just download it right there. And from their perspective, just purely as a business, what's the point of, losing that business if the market's willing to support it? I mean, if somebody's willing to buy it, you know, clearly...
Well, and not just that, too, but it goes back to the whole thing of, if you go to look for a game, if it's not on Steam, the chances of you finding that game or even hearing about the game is very rare.
Right.
Because any game that's really popular is going to be on Steam.
Right.
And so that's where it goes back to, you just don't limit art. I don't know. No. That's just my take. Yeah. That was just something that came out in the news.
Yeah. No, it was a really interesting story, actually, because, I mean, it's a conversation that's come up a lot. I mean, with their Greenlight program that they had a few years ago, I don't know if they're still doing that. I think they may still be. And every single day, they're flooded with 1,000 terrible ideas, edgy ideas, controversial games, all sorts of things. And
it shouldn't be their responsibility to cycle through the games and decide what they think people should see or not see.
No.
They put out this thing where if you don't want to see certain type of content, you can block that. You can block what your children see on their computers, what certain games that will come up, ratings, things like that. So, I mean, there's still safeguards. You still don't have to see those things. Like, there's a game, it's all about school shootings. Not a good game. It's a horrible game. Right. It's a very bad game. But it's somebody's art, and even though I don't agree with that, in what way is that right to... When does it become my right to infringe on their right to create something?
Right.
You know?
Well, and this is even like a bigger thing that's... I mean, this whole conversation really kind of goes back all the way to the 90s. I hate to go all the way back there. Maybe we're digressing too far. But to dig up old topics with the ESRB itself. I mean, really, the ESRB itself is a product of this conversation over what is okay to have in video games. And I'm just saying that if you look at things like Fortnite, like one of the biggest selling games of all time, Modern Warfare 2. I don't know if you ever played Modern Warfare 2.
It's my favorite.
Right.
It's probably my second favorite game.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't even tell you how many hours I clocked in Modern Warfare 2. But nobody talks about the story mode, the campaign there, which was some of their best, albeit still Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But really good. There were some really good moments. Namely, I don't know if you remember the AC-130 mission where you're viewing everything purely through the thermal. Yeah. You know what I mean? And there's no sound, and you're just watching
what's happening.
The
and
dots.
You
just and that's supposed to be an analog for the way warfare is really conducted these days. Hardly anybody talked about that. Most people wanted to talk about the No Russian mission where they shot up the airport, and that was, you know, on every cable news channel for a few weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And they, you know, it's one of those things where if people don't understand video games and they don't understand the art, then they will criticize it. But then they'll go watch a movie about a new movie came out. It's called The Wall. I went and watched.
Yeah.
And the terrorists win.
Right.
The soldiers died. The terrorists win, and it made me upset. But I understood it. It was art. Certain people it portrayed life. You know, the good guys don't always win. And as much as I didn't want to watch that, and after I watched it, I was actually very angry. I told a friend of mine about it, and he goes, that's actually a good movie.
Yeah.
And it is. It's not a good movie, in my opinion, as story-driven, but the way it's presented, the way it was conducted, I can respect that because it was done good.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's what I think Steam's getting at. They can't decide what they think is morally and immoral, but they also are going to decide what they believe is good content. They're not just going to a broken game come on the Steam. So.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, if it's functionally good, that should be really the bigger conversation.
Mm-hmm.
This is much more the issue with a low budget indie game.
Yeah.
Will it even work?
Yeah.
Does it even work?
Exactly.
You know. So what's in it? Mostly irrelevant. There's, like I said, when you look at AAA games these days, I don't know, Far Cry 5, Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, you know, that this is okay, that's not.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
So,
And they shouldn't be put in that spot to deny someone the rights to put up a game that they've spent hours creating and putting their heart and soul into a game, you know?
Right.
So, man, we went off on a big rabbit trail there. I'm going to try and get us back on track.
Yeah, this was
But it was a good
meaty
conversation.
one.
I
Yeah, it was a
enjoyed
meaty
it.
one, yeah. Sorry, man.
So, when did you start gaming? When did you get into the whole gaming? Like, what introduced you to it, I guess?
My very first gaming experience probably would be the Game Boy Color.
Oh,
Way
nice.
back with the Game Boy Color. I got that when I was, probably 7 or 8 back then.
All right.
You know, and I got one game with it, well, 2 games with it. I got Tetris, and I got
Tetris
Pokemon
hype.
Yellow.
E3, Tetris hype, PlayStation is already blowing it out of the park. In my opinion, Hitman 2.
Oh, yeah.
You got
Oh, yeah.
Tetris Effect, which trailer was amazing. I can't wait for that in VR. And what was it? I think it was called Twin Mirrors. Pretty sure that's what it was called. Hey Chase, do you remember? Was it called Twin Mirrors?
Yeah, Twin Mirrors.
Twin Mirrors, yeah.
Twin Mirrors.
And that looked amazing as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already releasing these games, and E3. Well, now for you guys, E3 is like in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
It's Monday. You guys are hyped about E3. I don't even know what's coming out yet. I can only speculate.
Yeah.
What's E3 prediction? One E3 prediction.
My one E3 prediction is going to be definitely. I definitely think we're going to get another Star Wars game. Probably something terrible, unfortunately. And we're probably going to get another Ubisoft sandbox as per the annual release on that. I don't predict a whole lot with E3 because there have been multiple years where there's tons of predictions, people saying this is going to come out, didn't, and they hit them with something entirely different. Like, I didn't believe Red Dead Redemption 2 was going to happen for the longest time. I mean, they just stayed completely silent about that. There's been, like, pretty much no hype about it. Like, nobody's been talking about it. At least I haven't been hearing people talking about it, which is weird. Because when they first announced that it was going to be a thing, people were losing their mind. So, I don't know what's up with that. Oh, and I think we're going to get some more Fallout 76 details as well.
Yeah.
For sure,
I'm
of course,
excited for that,
obviously.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Yeah.
Let's get crazy.
Oh, yeah?
I'm hoping that we're going to get either Rayman or Crash Bandicoot on Nintendo Switches.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, oh my word. I can't believe I blanked on that game. I'm thinking Battle Royale, that's all that's in my head right now. But it's not. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh.
I played it a lot. I can't believe all of you guys out there are screaming your heads off. I know.
What are you, is it an FPS?
No. You got your Link, you got your Mario, you got your Kirby.
Oh,
You
okay.
got Smash Brothers.
I was just about to say.
goodness,
Were
I
you just
can't
about to
believe I
say
forgot
Smash
that.
Brothers or something? Smash Brothers Melee? Oh my god.
So they just dropped my hype. I think I'm hoping we're gonna get either Rayman or Crash Bandicoot on Smash Brothers.
Right.
I would be so happy. That'd be amazing.
The only thing I can say about Crash Bandicoot is because of all of the PlayStation ties, I don't know if that's gonna happen. There are a lot of people who have said that'll never happen. I don't know.
That's why it's a crazy
People are
prediction.
never gonna say it's never gonna happen. It could. It very well.
What do you think
could.
about the rabbits coming to Smash Brothers? Do you think they'll get just a stage, or do you think they'll implement them into the actual game?
I think they'll probably get their own stage. Probably
Just stage, yeah.
just a stage. I mean,
That makes sense.
But I definitely think that they could include Crash Bandicoot. I mean, look, they included Solid Snake in, I think, Melee. And that's from Metal Gear Solid. That's a solid PlayStation console seller. And they put him in that. So there's every possibility they could put Crash Bandicoot in there. But
You guys might already know. Or
Yeah.
not. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, it's E3 is my favorite time of year. It's just,
I mean, it's like Christmas before Christmas.
it really is. It's Christmas
I mean,
in June is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
And then you got Christmas in July. And then you got fall, and that's like another Christmas for me because of football.
right.
Amazing, my favorite time of year. And then you got actual Christmas.
And that's
So it's
very-
Christmas year-round for
I mean,
us.
it's just, it's
Or at least for me.
festivities.
So, Game Boy
Game Boy Color.
is what got you into gaming
Absolutely.
with Tetris
And Pokemon Yellow.
Pokemon Yellow.
Pokemon Yellow. Many hours in Pokemon Yellow. I mean, like most kids back then, probably no understanding of the actual RPG elements whatsoever. So there was no strategy involved at all. It was just get the highest level and use cut constantly, basically.
Yeah.
But it was still the greatest. It was the greatest thing. And I mean, it had no light. I had bought one of those terrible attachment lights that are battery powered.
I remember those.
So I
had
could
to
play
have
all
those.
night, you know what I mean? And it was terrible because the battery, it would just drain the battery just like immediately.
Yeah.
But it was so worth it. It was so worth it.
Or if you didn't have the light and you're riding in the car, you have to wait for you to go past the lights on the outside to
yeah.
hit the button real quick and know when you're gonna have.
Yeah, those were good times. Those were good times.
Memories.
And then my first real console was the PS1.
Okay.
Specifically the PS1. Because this was a little later by this point. Even the PS1 was starting to be kind of old news. But it was still kicking around. The PS1, which there's a difference between the PS1 and the PlayStation. That's why I say this. They're not the exact same console. Minor differences that I can't really remember at this point. I know the PS1 was also the one that had the attachment for the portable screen.
Yeah.
Which I never got. But my friends had it, and I lose my mind over that. I was like, how do you have portable console gaming, basically, back then? Obviously, you look at a PS1 game now. Back then, it was Metal Gear Solid. I was playing a lot back then. You look at something like that, and, I mean, most mobile games are, like, infinitely better. I mean, infinitely better, but still blew my mind. Blew my mind that somebody could get a detachable battery-powered screen on this and turn this console experience into a game. And it felt huge. Felt huge, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that was probably the first gaming experience that just sold me wholly on the full gaming experience. It could be like a whole experience from the art, the music, the gameplay, everything. You know?
Spot right into everything.
Right.
Well, where did it go from there? Is there any specific memories that you have that you can look back on like it was yesterday and go, that was a good time for me?
Yeah, absolutely. It was back on the PS2 because, again, the PS2 was where it was at if you were a kid in the mid-2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you had Xbox. Some of you liked Xbox. I couldn't afford an Xbox.
My cousin did.
Yeah.
I had a PlayStation 2 and a Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And then my cousin had an Xbox, and we'd go over and play games.
How underrated
Games.
the Dreamcast, too, by the way. That one never got any love. But,
it got love from me.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Dreamcast.
yeah.
You're buying coffee, Chase. That
No,
was
that
your
was-
phone.
was not.
That was your phone.
That's why I cringed.
Oh, you're buying coffee.
I'm buying coffee.
Charles is yes, and he's buying coffee.
So,
let's go.
Coffee for the gang now. But
Good to have you.
anyways,
We gotta keep having you back.
yeah, absolutely, man. This is great. This
Coffee.
is great. But yeah. So back on the PS2, one of the most hype moments for me. Was when I got Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, which at the time had, it just come out, and it was, for me, I was crazy into Dragon Ball Z, crazy into it. Like, back even when I was 7 or 8, I mean, I was spending any allowance I would get, washing dishes or whatnot, save it up and go out, buy an action figure, and never left the box. You know what I mean? To this day, I still have them totally in the box, and some of these figures are super rare. So slight humble brag there about the figure collection, but
Bring him on the shows.
yeah, absolutely.
Advertise.
Sometime, absolutely, I would love to, because I've got all the bigger ones, like none of that 5-inch garbage that they sold at the dollar store either. Like the full, yeah, exactly, that full 10-inch
Keep going.
movie collector's edition of the figure. Serious stuff.
Right
But
on,
anyway,
man.
so yeah, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, and back then, local multiplayer was still a thing. You know, you go over to your friend's house, bring a second controller, bring a second memory card, you play.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty much gone now. I mean, some people, you know, there's still some games out there doing split screen, but that's pretty much gone. It's all been...
A Way Out. Have you heard of that?
I've not actually. I mean, I heard some stuff about it, but I don't know anything about
It's
it.
strictly.
yeah.
We did a spoilers cast on last episode.
Okay.
It's strictly a split screen
Okay.
game, and you play together. And me and Chase went through it together. And since we already spoiled cast it, I'm just gonna spoil the ending
Yeah.
again real quick. Skip past whatever. But you go and you're best friends, and you get to the end and realize that your best friend is actually an undercover cop, and he's been with you this whole time to betray you, and you have to fight each other at the end, and one dies, one lives, and it shows an ending. If you go back and you replay it and you switch who dies, it shows you another ending. Both are insanely sad. I had a lot of dust in my eye and everything at that
Wow.
moment. And, so no, but it was one of the best. It really took me back, I guess I should say. For the first time in a long time, it took me back to that multiplayer split screen co-op on the same screen, 2 controllers sitting there together, playing through a game, and it had been a long time. And so when I watched that, it kind of made my heart smile again.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. And that's one of the things that's lost with no local multiplayer anymore. I mean, you never have those just magical moments. Grab a pizza, grab some pop, and play some video games.
Yeah.
These days, online multiplayer, it's also toxic most of the time. So there's not even a lot of fun to be had there. Because that's the thing, I don't even know if you remember back when online multiplayer was a thing, everyone was so nice. Everyone was just psyched to be playing. Sure, they talked trash, but it was like that 90s, you know, gamer movie trash talk, like, yeah, get wrecked, nerd, you know, like, stuff like that. It wasn't like people are so...
Make fun of your mom for everything.
Well, or worse.
They just... They everything is your mom and this and that. It's just... Everything is just... I've heard 9-year-olds use words that I never thought I'd hear a 9-year-old say.
Yeah.
I remember one time this kid started cussing me out, and he was probably 10. I asked him, he said he was like 10 or something. And I looked at him, I said, do you even know what that word means? He goes, no. And I'm like, then why are you saying it, man? He goes, because I know that it hurts you. I'm like, no, it doesn't. And I had to mute. I have to mute. I call them squeakers.
Oh, yeah. Right,
I have
right.
to mute them. It drives me nuts. But no, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's one of those things where you hop on now and you can't play any game without hearing, you know,
squeakers, man.
the little kids just yelling and cussing you, and just like,
it's sad because
it's not the same. It's not the same.
I mean, maybe it's like, the thing is that it's like, I mean, you used to be squeaker. It's just they didn't let us have microphones. We had to squeak at each other.
Yeah, I didn't
You
have
know what I
microphones
mean? Like,
back
we had
then,
to
man.
squeak at each other. There was no internet to broadcast your screeching, you know, through the internet wide.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, now, how are those kids gonna feel when you go back on those YouTube, you know, recaps where you've got all those great Xbox Live messages that they would drop on you? You know, all those really, really, really good sporting messages they would leave you after a Modern Warfare 2 round.
Or the
back
1v1 me, bro.
Yeah,
like
1v1 me.
Any argument could be settled on Rust in Modern Warfare 2. Any argument.
Knife only, Rust.
You know. Quick scope, like oh, snap, you know, you cheated on me with my best friend. Okay, 1v1 me, Rust, bro. And then whoever wins, then it was settled. It was boom.
Yeah,
like, okay, you get the girl, whatever. I mean,
right.
Okay, not that far, I don't think. I hope not. But I
Yeah.
mean, it was pretty close.
Yeah,
I mean, just
I mean,
no
there
matter
was-
what happened,
Yeah.
it always went back to 1v1 on Rust.
Oh, yeah.
I never won. I mean, I won a few times, but I was not good on 1v1 versus people.
Man, if I had the revolver with, oh god, what was the perk? It was so bugged. It was so bugged. If you knifed with the revolver and the perk to increase knifing distance, you could knife practically from across the map. It was insane.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you remember. It completely escapes my memory now, but there was a perk that you could use to increase your knifing distance, and with the revolver, you could always have the knife attachment, of course, where it would always be ready. You could knife way faster. You could just spam it,
Yeah.
and people would literally just be just darting around the map because it was so broken for so long, for so many months. It was so broken.
Looking back on it, the whole game was broken.
The whole
Noob
game was
tubes
so
with
broken.
the one-man army, and
Yeah.
you could constantly reload that same
Yeah.
kit and just have unlimited noob tubes. And then my favorite gun was personally the FAL.
Yeah.
Iron Sights FAL, and I loved it. I was really good with that. I didn't waste ammo. It was one shot, one kill for me most of the time.
Yeah. I was extra basic. I was a SCAR with heartbeat sensor
There you go. Right on.
because who needs AC-130s? It was a waste. It was a waste of a kill streak. There we go. Kill streaks.
Yeah. No, I had a lot of fun with that game.
Yeah, no, that game was good.
So
But yeah, local multiplayer is something that's been completely neglected,
it
and
really has.
I mean, in fighting games as a whole, which I'm terrible at, like literally it's funny you mentioned Smash Brothers. Literally the only fighting game I think people who can't play fighting games can play, because it's literally just button mashing, which is pretty much what you do when you play fighting games anyway. So
That's why I love it.
yeah,
That's why I love
so
Smash.
I mean, and that one was I don't know if you ever
Smash,
played
yeah.
Super Smash Brothers Melee back on GameCube,
Mhm.
because that was another great console to have as a kid back
Oh,
in
yes.
the day.
Monkey Ball? Did you play Monkey Ball?
Oh yeah,
Oh, I love
Monkey
Monkey
Ball, Wind Waker, which was huge, way underrated. All these kids talk about Ocarina of Time now, which by the way just grates me. I love it when you see like kids that are like 12 being like, Ocarina of Time, bro. Water temples, dumb. You know, like, okay, man. Which, in fairness, they did remaster it on 3DS.
Yeah.
Which was pretty great. But, yeah, so Wind Waker on GameCube probably was another. That was the one that also convinced me art style, just purely art style. Story-wise, not so much, but art style, that was it. Cell-shaded graphics, which was the cool thing back then. Because it looked better than Potato Faces or
Yeah.
like the hyper-realistic attempts with like games and things like that. So most things were like cell-shaded. It looked kind of comic book-ish almost. And today, you have people, I mean, that's how Fortnite is practically done, almost, with the cell-shaded thing, which is more of a hardware limitation issue, but it still looks great. Looks great. I mean, it's just like with Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 didn't need to look that way, but it looked great that way. The whole cartoonies 1950s
The way they went about
style.
it, yeah.
I mean, it was all so kitschy, so great. Before the hats, because that was the original. That was the original money grab there with the microtransactions. Let's be real,
don't
too.
get me
Team
started on
Fortress.
microtransactions. We'll skip over that topic.
Yeah, we'll just. But
But
anyways,
so your favorite game? Let's hop onto that real quick.
favorite game.
Let's kind of end on
Absolutely
that.
favorite game.
What's your favorite game of all time?
The favorite game of all time? That'd be a tough one, but I honestly think Fallout 3
Whoa,
Might be.
Fallout 3, huh?
might be a strong contender, which I know is, again, pretty controversial because New Vegas is, the Fallout nerd go-to. That's the best one in a lot of people's mind. A lot of people didn't even think 4 stood up to New Vegas.
I heard
So-
4 kind of fell short for a lot of people.
And it did. I guess it depends on what you're looking for in that, but Fallout 3 was definitely the pinnacle of the RPG elements, the storytelling, I mean, and really, even the RPG elements are just like Oblivion, Skyrim style stuff, because it's Bethesda, and in classic Bethesda fashion, it was totally bugged in so many ways that just added to the charm, really. Because I mean, even the perks in the game, Bloody Mess, and all the other weird things to just have weird random things happen, and the random encounters where you can't tell if this is supposed to happen or just something you ran up on. And every single time I play it, I find something new. Like, literally, I mean, what is it? It came out in 2007, I think. Like, 11 years later, I still go back and find new things in that game.
Correct us if we're wrong at beyondtheconsoleq.com. At gmail.com. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. And so, yeah. It's huge. I think that's the thing. It was the first major open world RPG I'd ever played. And it's funny because I hated the game when I first played it. I absolutely hated it.
But it kind of just drew you in.
Yeah, like...
Roped you in a little bit.
Yeah, because, I mean, you go through the hobo phase, like every RPG, where you have, like, a pistol with, like, 10 rounds, and it's half broken, and no armor, and every direction you go, you just get murdered.
Now, were you the good guy or the bad guy?
My first playthrough, I was the bad guy. I blew up Tenpenny Tower. I'm sorry, blew up Megaton all the way.
You want to know what I did? Okay, so I knew nothing about this game or series when I first jumped into the third one.
Yeah.
Jumped into Fallout 3, ran out of the vault with my pistol or whatever. The first house I went to, this lady comes out smoking a cigarette. She's like, "Get off my lawn!" I'm like, well, she was mean. I shoot her and I steal her cigarette. I go to Megaton and I see the bomb. I'm like, I gotta defuse this and save all the people. Then Tenpenny Tower, they say I could have a room.
Right.
And I really want to watch things explode, so I blew it up, right?
Right.
But then I wasn't satisfied with just one room. So, you know those people that you have to go free from slavery?
Yeah.
And take the collars off?
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I went, got the collars, went back to Tenpenny Tower, hit every single person in there with a collar, and I owned it by myself.
And see,
I was so bad.
That is the magic in a game like Fallout 3, the way you can just write the story yourself. From the minute you leave the vault, that's it. You just write the story yourself. You just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's just the most ridiculous, insane things. And that's why the game is great. I mean, every time somebody talks about Fallout 3, they have something different to talk about. Their own experience with it, their own way that they chose to play it. And it's that kind of openness that I don't know. I don't know that I've ever experienced it fully in another game. I mean, there's some games that come close, but a lot of games today, sandbox or open world, is just a lot of random objectives strewn about with arbitrary goals. But in Fallout 3, it was stories. They were like full-on stories. Every little thing was just a little thread that you could pull for hours to unravel all the story. I mean, and so for me, that would definitely have to be solidly up there as potentially my favorite game of all time. Just because, again, every single time you play it, something new.
Well, games are amazing, and we have a saying here at Beyond the Console, it's not just a game anymore. It's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's a story, it's art, it's people's livelihood, and, you know, it's one of those things that I think people will get around a lot more. I feel like we're in one of the first generations to being in nursing homes playing video games.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to become more accepted.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something that's getting less, it's something that's getting more and greater, and I love it. And again, it's not a game anymore. Well, thank you, Charles, for coming on and talking about your history in gaming. There's so much more we could talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to have you on again.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on, talking with us. It's been fun.
It's been so great to be on, man. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. So, we'll have you on again, man.
All right.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Next up, we're going to be introducing our second guest. I hope you're really going to enjoy this one. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be an interview of kind of what we do here at the studio, as well as a little bit of into their gaming history.